everybody. I'm just out in the woods near my workplace on my lunch break here. Not on the typical place I normally go, but just kind of exploring a little bit. Sun's out, beautiful day. I do have my winter jacket on, but probably don't even need it today. But anyway, just wanted to touch base. I've talked before a little bit about my dog walking business that I've been doing. I had a couple good stays where I've actually stayed overnight at someone's place for like 6 nights, taking care of their dog and watching their house and stuff. So that's kind of cool. And I was actually just recently contacted by somebody who found one of my local ads and asked me if I would be able to work with other animals. And so I was kind of intrigued. And of course, being an animal lover, I was like, all right, well, what's the situation? So I got contacted by this woman. Her and her husband have a bit of a farm, and first of all, I would like to clarify that no, these people are not vegan. But so that was kind of an early thought to myself, like, okay, well, what am I going to see when I go and see this? But anyway, I'll move on. Was talking. They want to go away for a trip, but need someone to take care of their animals. They really have no one to do that. So I said, well, you know what? I'll come up and take a look and just, meet the animals, see the place, and kind of get a feel for what's going on. Really, for me, wanted to see if there was going to be any red flags. Wanted to meet these people in person and stuff. So get there, and there's a ram, there's some sheep, there's some goats, and there's rescue turkeys and so many cats and a dog and ducks and chickens. I got to hold a chicken. Oh my God, guys, that was amazing. I just love animals so much, especially for some reason. I don't know why, but I just love birds so much. Anyway, got to talking to these people and, realized that while they're not vegan, I think that these are the types of people that genuinely do feel like they care about their animals and stuff like that. And, of course, I'm not ever going to be an apologist, and I'm never going to be advocating for people to have small-scale farms. But I use this opportunity to kind of, slip into the conversation, because as we were getting ready to leave, because this was just kind of like a preliminary meet and greet kind of thing, as we were getting ready to leave, they offered me some eggs, some free-range eggs from their farm. And I said, oh, no, thank you. I appreciate it, but, we're actually very strict vegetarians. I wanted to see what the reaction was to that. I had absolutely every intent in using the word vegan, but I wanted to see what the reaction was to that, because it's a good kind of test of where people's heads are at. And she said immediately, she's like, oh, okay, well, my daughter's vegan, so yeah, no worries there. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we're vegan. We have been for a few years, but thank you anyway. I appreciate the offer. So for me, in that moment, it was kind of cool, because these people are probably, I'm guessing somewhere around 60 years old. I don't know, but that's my guess. I'm hearing birds up in the trees. But anyway, so it's just interesting that, these people have this farm, and I don't think that they're like, these people aren't like farming these animals. They're not raising a bunch of these animals and it's all for their food. It's not like that. They've got some rescues there. They've got some animals that could potentially end up as meat. I don't know that, but I know that they do not do, any killing of their own animals, which I know that doesn't make a difference, but I could tell that these people, I think that these people will be good to talk to about veganism and about animal rights, and I already planted some seeds in some of the conversations. Like I said, I wanted to take this opportunity. I don't want to support anybody who's exploiting animals, and I don't want to support farmers who are, raising animals for food and exploiting them. But I wanted to take the opportunity to maybe plant some seeds and have a conversation and gain some perspective, to be quite honest, because I don't know a lot of farmers in person. Really, I can only base my opinions upon my moral stance and the obvious, maybe subconscious or unconscious moral stance of people who use animals, right? And kind of like relating that to where I used to be and what I used to think about things, thinking that you could eat animals and love them too, right? So anyway, just had some good conversation with these folks, and planted a couple of seeds, I know, talking about how we're vegan, and not shying away from it, just saying, I just got to a point where I realized I didn't need to eat animals, so I couldn't justify it. And of course they were like, oh yeah, we don't eat much, and we grow all our veggies and stuff like that. So you could tell that they weren't offended by it, and I wasn't being combative by any means, but I think that they were really, in that moment recognizing, oh shit, like, how do we justify our actions to this vegan? Because we like this guy and we want him to care for our animals while we're away. And so I could tell that, the tone kind of changed in kind of a, not trying to justify their actions, but in a, oh, believe me, it's a minimal kind of a thing, right? I appreciate that on the surface, because it shows that they do have a respect for my decisions and my beliefs and my way of life. So that's better than you get from some people, for sure. So at the end of the day, we chatted for probably a good hour, and I met all the animals, and I'll show some clips here of the few that I got. At the end of the day, I realized that these are people who do not consume a lot of animal products. Most of the animals there are animals that are going to just be there and live out their natural lifespan. In fact, I believe that's the plan for all of them, but I can't know that for sure. Didn't get into too many specifics. I didn't want to ask them, like, so which of these animals do you plan to kill for meat? Because, that would have been heartbreaking for me. But from the conversation we were having, that's not really what they're there for. It's more of like a hobby farm, and they do have some rescues as well. So, like some rescue turkeys, and talking about how one of the goats had I forget what it was now, like a pneumonia or something like that, and they spent a lot of money, making sure that this goat was nursed back to health and pulled through. So, there's something there. There is definitely a care for animals there, and in my mind, or I don't doubt that in their mind, they 100% believe that they love animals, and they consume probably a small amount because they feel that they need to, or something like that. So in any case, I don't feel like I am contributing to the exploitation of animals or creating any sort of demand by going there for a few days while they go on a trip and caring for these animals, because this situation already exists. I'm not going to be doing anything, that's going to be detrimental to the animal's health in any way. I'm literally going to be caring for them. But I also want to take that opportunity. I want to take the job because I want to take the opportunity to actually spend time around other animals that I haven't had the chance to connect with. I've really never in my life been around farms, or not much anyway, and I've never really been around sheeps and goats and chickens and turkeys, and they have a parrot as well, a 42-year-old parrot. So I want to have this opportunity to connect with these animals and get a deeper kind of understanding of how they all work as well. Because, it'd be great knowledge to have, I guess, even just in how to care for them going into, if I wanted to volunteer at a sanctuary and do things like that. But also, I am being a little bit selfish, I guess, but I just really want to spend time with these animals and make that connection. And I feel like it's going to be a good opportunity to have continuing conversations with these people who have a farm about my stance and about animal rights and about veganism, and who knows. I believe that there's fertile soil here where I could potentially be planting a whole garden of veganism. So I'm not ruling that out. If these people were just like crazy hillbillies who were telling like if this was just going to be a completely horrible situation where I walk in and they're just like, yeah, so this is where we slaughter the goats and blah, 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 and this is the plan and that's the plan, but that's just not the vibe I got at all. That's not what the situation was. So anyway, I'm going to take on that job and care for those animals. I'm actually really excited about it. Spend some time with them for a few days. That's not going to be until February though, so there is some time between now and then. So obviously, keep you posted in a few months, I guess. On another note, I did get to, that sun's really bright, making me look pretty pasty, but I can't really help that. I got to get back to the office. On another note, I got to go and meet a vegan couple who lives only about 15 minutes away from me. Another vegan couple. I wasn't really aware of many that lived, in my town or around my town, other than a few that I have on, as Facebook friends that are in some groups and things like that, but again, that I've never actually met in real life. So that was kind of nice. Speaking of sanctuaries and volunteering at sanctuaries, they actually got my contact info from one of the guys who runs a sanctuary here in Nova Scotia, and said, hey, well, if there's ever a time you want to come up, or you're doing something and one of the hindrances is that you can't take your dog with you, well, you should get John. He's only like 15 minutes from you, and he can walk the dog or sit and stuff like that. So I went to meet them the next day after meeting the going up to the farm, and really nice people. I'm really looking forward to that. So I get to go and hang out with Aloe, who is a husky Australian cattle dog and dingo mix. Very unique. I'll show a picture here. Really well behaved, bright dog. So looking forward to that. I just love, having met and connected with a bunch more animals. Like I love it, It's really cool. I'm really enjoying the dog walking and sitting thing so far. And yeah, I guess that's about it. So I don't know. That's just a little bit of what's going on, and thought I'd update you guys. I'm out on this walk. Wow, out here in the sun, it's actually really warm. Do not need this jacket at all. But let me know what your thoughts are down below about any of this. Do you know any farmers that you believe are actually really nice, decent people who maybe just don't know any better, or have been raised in a different lifestyle that you've either been able to have some good conversations with, or maybe even inspire some changes? Or do you think it's a waste of time, and there's no way that you would care for these animals while they were away on a trip? I'm interested, because I know, like, for me, I had to think about it a lot. Like, is this something I even want to do? But again, the way I'm looking at it is that these animals are there, they exist, and they need care, and they're going to get it whether I do it or not. I might as well take the opportunity to be around these animals and gain some of that experience and help make that connection, and maybe even plant a few seeds. So, all right, that's it. I got to get back to the office. We'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.